Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great, what is today? Wednesday so far. Just a few minutes ago, guys, I tried to do a live Facebook, but my phone isn't letting me rotate the way I want to go. So I do want to do a video. I haven't been on live Facebook in a couple weeks. I've been working with my youngest boy, who's a firefighter, who they gave some time off. He started back up today, so we did some work in his backyard, so I've been pretty busy with that. But I thought I'd go ahead, and I thought I was going to do a live Facebook, but it didn't work out. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on YouTube, because it is a topic that is still an issue out there, even though there's a lot of science. So those of you that follow me know that Emily and I promote intermittent and prolonged fasting. We combine it with primal meals. You guys know that as a ketogenic diet, and we've been doing this for a few years now. We've been able to maintain our body fat to a very healthy percentage. Actually, for our age, which we're 60 plus, I'm pushing 70 here soon. So we're able to keep our body fat really, really healthy, but actually less than I could ever imagine. And we're able to keep it that way for a few years now. And it really isn't that hard. And those of you that follow me know I talk a lot about fat adaptation, and then obviously during intermittent fasting, prolonged fasting, how important it is to get into a state of what they call autophagy, which has got a lot of health benefits. But recently, I've been getting some messages from people about intermittent fasting and the primal meals or the ketogenic diet, that these people are just starting out. I see a lot of messages on the group pages as well, as they have no idea how to get started or what to do. And it is a little confusing, especially if you don't know what you're doing. That's why it's good to find somebody to take you through the first 12 weeks to find a protocol that works best for you guys. See, that's the key, guys, is Emily and I have found a protocol that works for our lifestyle. And it didn't take me, it took me a while to find it. Even 12 weeks, it took me probably 6 months, 8 months, maybe even a year to find the one that we really enjoy. And we still mix it up. My clients that I work with now know that I like to mix the protocols up all the time. I don't like doing the same thing, and I don't want them to do the same thing. And there's different factors involved when you're doing these protocols. It depends on what you're looking for. If you're obese, you've got to be more aggressive. If you're not obese and you're just looking to lose some of that body fat, then you just got to find the platform that works for you. And it takes about 12 weeks to figure that out. And most of you that are just starting out or are looking into this or investigating it, there's a lot of different factors involved, so you will be successful. And like I said, it's probably worthwhile for you to invest into a coach that knows the ins and outs of intermittent fasting and primal eating. Intermittent fasting, guys, seems like there's still a lot of people that are skeptic about it. The health professionals and some of the doctors out there that are skeptic, that are doubting it, say it doesn't work, it's just because they have not done their investigation. There's just way, way too much science behind all this. Because this is what I do for a living, I educate people on the science of intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting and primal meals, that I have just tons and tons of actual scientific research proving that this way of life is, in my opinion, the only way that you're going to get to where you want to get to, And you got to look at the overall. You got to look at it as an overall health, as getting your gut healthy, as boosting your immune system so you can fight these diseases and viruses, especially like what's going on today. I mean, they're saying now, I just saw something on the news that obesity is now #1 cause of why people are having such an issue with this COVID-19, and #2 is people that have the underlying type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes. They're having big issues and aren't recovering as quickly or not even recovering at all. And so this is where you have to look at what's proof, and they talk about this all the time on TV about this COVID-19, is they're looking at the science to tell them when it's a good time to reopen some of the businesses up. Well, it's the same thing with intermittent and prolonged fasting and a ketogenic or primal meals. You have to look at the science. I mean, the proof is there, guys, and I don't know why health professionals and why doctors don't take advantage of this for their clients that are obese or that are type 2 diabetic or premature diabetics, because it's proven to work. I mean, Dr. Jason Fung, one of the top kidney doctors in the world, who specializes in obesity, reversing obesity and type 2 diabetes, has been reversing type 2 diabetics for over a decade now with his clients. You got Dr. Boz, you got Dr. Berg, you do have, and more doctors are coming on board because they're seeing the science and the benefits with their own clients. So I don't know what it is and why these other health professionals don't take advantage of it. I mean, a lot of it is education. Because they don't understand the science behind and why it works and how important being fat adapted is. Now, you guys got to remember that Emily and I have been doing this for a long time, and that's why we're where we are now. We knew that it was going to take time, especially me, because I was obese. And it took me probably a good 1.5 to 2 years to really get down to where I was really happy. And now I'm even lower as far as my body fat than I've ever been in my life. And but it took me 3 or 4 years to do that. Emily and I have been probably 99.9% consistent on our intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting protocol. And we're combining it with the primal eating, and we've been pretty much consistent on it, and that's why we were able to get to where we are, and that's why we have no issues when we do a 23-hour fasting. We're not hungry at all. Our bodies are so fat adapted and they're rooted that we have no issues with hunger. We can do 36 and 42-hour fasting with no issues at all. But we don't do them all the time. We don't go that long. We have a protocol that works for us. We found one, and that's the key factor. You got to give yourself time to find the protocol or the platform of intermittent fasting, and when you're combining it with when you're combining intermittent fasting with a primal eating or a ketogenic diet, there's room there to what they call cheat. Now, we didn't really do that a lot at first. Matter of fact, probably the first couple of years, we did actually. We were very consistent in doing. We were pretty strict. But I have found out through our trials and through checking it ourselves that when you're combining these two, that if you do go to an event and you feel like having the things you don't normally have, it will have no effect on your weight loss or whatever you're trying to achieve. Now, I do know though, the last couple of years, Emily and I have been really focused. I've been really working with a lot of type 2 diabetics. And I did find out, I do know they can't cheat until their blood sugars are completely regulated and are in a healthy level consistently over time, and they become fat adapted. Once they become rooted fat adapted, now there's fat adapted and there's rooted fat adapted. Those are two different things, guys, and Emily and I are rooted fat adapted. Most of you who've only been doing this for 3, 4, 5, 6 months most likely aren't rooted yet. And so type 2 diabetic has got to be more strict and stay consistent until they get their blood sugars levels down to a healthy level consistently time after time after time after time. After that happens, then they can start playing around and eating things they enjoy eating, or the comfort foods, but yet they have to have a protocol which they will be able to fast the next day for, say, 23 hours. So for example, if a type 2 diabetic who has got his blood sugar down to normal, he's off all the medication, he's off all his insulin, his blood sugar has been in a healthy level for 3, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. He decides to have some kind of sweets or some kind of a high glycemic fruit or something, then it's not going to really affect him, because he or she is going to know that, okay, I'm eating a lot of sweets here, and yes, I was a type 2 diabetic, but I'm not now. So I'm going to go on a 20-hour fast tomorrow, or I'm going to go on a 23-hour fast tomorrow. So they have the option to do that, and that's why this lifestyle is so flexible. Once you get rooted, it's just getting rooted, okay? So that's the biggest issue. But back on the topic of why health professionals don't promote this, or why there's so many that aren't using this, and yet there's so much science out there, and you guys that follow me know that I talk about science all the time. I mean, I've got 2 or 3 files that are full of actual scientific research that proves intermittent fasting takes time. And also, if you listen to these doctors that like Dr. Jason Fun or Dr. Boz, if you listen to them, or Dr. Berg, these doctors have been doing this for a long time. Now, you guys, intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting is century old. It's nothing new. Primal eating, a ketogenic diet, that's century old. It's nothing new. Matter of fact, our ancestor doctors used the ketogenic diet to help people with epilepsy. So all these have already been out there. That's why there's so much information about it, yet the health professionals don't really talk about it. Now, you guys have, you've heard me talk about autophagy. See, autophagy is a big deal, guys, and that's where these paleo diets or these low-carb diets, they fall short of putting you into the real healthy state of autophagy. See, that's the key goal. When you get into the state of autophagy, that's where the magic starts. That's where your body starts producing its own stem cells. And those of you that are older, that are over 40, 50, or 60, or myself, and you're looking to put on some lean muscle, you need to understand how important it is to put yourself in autophagy, because at that point is when your body is actually producing its own brand new stem cells, not only your immune stem cells, but muscle stem cells too. And there's no age limit. When it comes to building lean muscle mass, your testosterone level needs to be up, and to do that, that's what autophagy does. It activates your growth hormones and your testosterone and other muscle building hormones. So that's why it's really important to understand how this all works, and it's all science backed. I mean, like I said, I've got a ton of different, like here I have the Journal of Translation Medicine, and they did a actual research on males, and it says here the effects of 8 weeks of time-restricted feeding, and they did 16 and 18-hour fastings every day on the metabolism, how it bumped up the metabolism, it increased their strength, and their body composition over 8 weeks changed. The inflammation markers were reduced, and their cardiovascular risk factors in resistant, they were drops. So, but what they did was they tested these males that were actually doing strength training. So that just proves that intermittent fasting works on athletes, and that's just one of them. I mean, I've got the International Journal Obesity. I've got the Journal of Nutrients. I've got the Journal of Academy of Nutrition and Diabetic. I mean, how many times have I told you that Dr. Jason Fund's been reversing type 2 diabetes for his clients for decades? Yet, and he's actually, I would call the father of introducing intermittent fasting and ketogenic meals to reverse type 2 diabetics. And now he's teaching other doctors about it because he's so successful. He's written 3 books about it. So why wouldn't you listen to somebody who's actually doing it? Come on, that makes sense. So, you know what? You're like metabolic cell of biology, National Library of Medicine. I mean, I could just cellular cycle, molecular cell, molecular medicine, genealogy of research. I mean, I just can keep going and going and going. That's just on intermittent fasting. So what if you combine it with a primal eating or a ketogenic diet? Well, let's see what science says about that. I'm going to go over to here. I'm going to click on here, and I'm going to bring this up. So here again, so I have a separate file for all this research. So, I mean, I have research that was done in here's one that was done in 2019. Shows the benefits of a high-fat diet. Here you got high-fat diet, how it reacts to epilepsy and other neurological illnesses, not just epilepsy, but other ones. I mean, it's just amazing. Here you got, let's see here, you got mechanisms of ketogenic diet action. That's a research site. They actually named the site after a ketogenic diet. So, I mean, it's just amazing how many research, and now they have universities, USC, Oxford, Boston College. A professor at Boston College discovered that doing a ketogenic diet or a high-fat diet actually kills cancer cells, because cancer cells can't live off of fat. So when you've taken yourself from being a carboholic, or you carbohydrate restrict yourselves, and you have cancer, he's proved that cancer cells cannot live off fat, so the cells are dying. I mean, it just keeps going and going and going and going. What else do I got here? Let's see. MS. It just shows the effects of how primal eating has health benefits for people with MS. What about? I mean, it just keeps going. Tons and tons of stuff. So, guys, I mean, those of you that are actually doing it right now, you know what? You've got to make this a lifestyle. This is something you need to do the rest of your life, because the scientific research has proved that it works. It always does work. But you do have protocols you got to follow, and there are factors that you have to do to set yourself a platform and to educate yourself on how to stay on that platform and find the actual protocols that work for you. Now, the protocols that I'm doing may not work for you. Emily and I, our normal protocol has been for a while now. We do we do alternate day fasting, which means I have a non-fasting day and I have a fasting day. Well, my non-fasting day is still, I'm doing intermittent fasting, because our protocol that we like is 18 and 20 hours before we have our first meal. Our last meal's closer to 6 at night. So we're not going to eat anything until 12:30 or 1 o'clock the next day, or even 2. Well, here in the last few months, we've become more toward 20 hours. So our first meal isn't going to be for 20 hours. That works for us. We do like that. Now, and then the following day, we'll only have one meal. That's our fasting day. So we'll break our fast at 23 hours with kefir and a protein and a veggie protein powder, and then an hour later we'll have a solid primal meal. And then on Wednesday we'll do another non-fasting day. But like I said, we don't have our first meal for 20 hours, but we exercise, before the shutdown, we were exercising 5 to 6 times a day. Now we're doing it 3 times a day. Actually, we're doing it 5 to 6 times a day because we're doing a pretty brutal hike on the days we don't lift weights. So we're lifting weights 3 days a week. We work out only in a fasted state because science has already told us over and over and over again that that's the best time to put yourself into autophagy to raise your growth hormones, which of course we're over 60 and we want to do that. Okay, so that's basically what my protocol is. But this week and this week I'm mixing it up. I'm going to be doing 20-hour fastings every day. So my first meal will be at 2 o'clock every single day. And I'll have a snack at 3. And then I'll have a meal at 6 o'clock at night. And I'm done. I don't eat anything else at night. I have my ginger juice, my apple cider vinegar, a big glass of water to help what they call thermogenic, so it helps burn fat while I'm asleep. But I'll do that all week, and then next week I'll do my normal alternate day fasting. You see, I'm mixing it up all the time. I'm not always doing the same thing. Now, sometimes Emily and I will do a 32-hour or 36 or a 42-hour fast just to cleanse our bodies out. We're due for she just mentioned it today. We're due for a 72-hour actual bone broth fast where we're going to have bone broth 3 times a day, and that's going to be for 72 straight hours. No solid food at all, just bone broth. So we do that every so often. So there's a lot of different protocols that you can go by just to mix it up. But the key factor is that this works. Okay, Dr. Jason Fung has multiple videos out there explaining that if you stay consistent and you focus on health and don't focus on the weight loss, the inches will fall off. But focus on the weight or on the health, not the weight loss. Guys, stay off the scales. Throw the scales away. Measure your different parts of your body if you want, or use some clothes to give you an idea of how much body fat you're losing. But those scale weights are just going to cause you to fail. Stay off the scale weights. Get off them. They don't work. They don't measure actual body fat. So stay off of them. But guys, I'm telling you, there is the research is out there. If you go to if you join my Weight Loss Made Easy Solution Facebook group page, there's a lot of downloads there to educate you. I've got recipes there also. These are fat burning recipes as well. You can for those of you that aren't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can go there, subscribe to it. It's under Bill Mabry. Subscribe to it. There's other videos that talks about it. But those out there that want to know really more about how to do it right, how to do the intermittent and prolonged fasting right, the scientific way, and then combining it with primal eating, you guys might want to contact me. You can go to you can contact me by going to my email, which is drinknatureswater@gmail.com. And just put a comment in there. I'd like to know more information about this. But I'm going to tell you right up front, guys, you got to, like I said, you got to reboot your brain, okay? Look at this lifestyle as changing your overall health. If you focus on your overall health and focus on what science says, how this lifestyle is actually going to change your health, the body fat falls off automatically. The problem is where I see a lot of people make these mistakes is their carb intake. Doesn't matter what carbs they are. Their carb intake is too high, and they're not getting into that state of autophagy, so they're not really getting into the environment which I call the magical environment. And so you've got to focus on the carbs that you're eating, the time you're eating, and limit those carbs until you find the protocols that work for you, until you become fat adapted. Now, in my training, I have actual training modules that I send to people every so often that explains what I'm talking about today and explains why you have to eliminate fruit, for example, during the first 12 weeks. You got to eliminate fruit completely, guys. Fructose is going to throw you out of fat burning. See, that's the key. You got to put yourself into fat burning 24/7. And that means you got to learn how to burn your own fat. Doesn't that make sense? So if you're overweight, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, wouldn't it make sense to find a way to switch from burning your food you're eating to burning your actual body fat? That makes more sense, doesn't it? Well, that's what is going to put you in that autophagy, and that's what's going to raise your growth hormones, and that's what's going to help your skin and your hair, and that's going to help anti-age. That's part of anti-aging. Science is even talks about that. Okay, so guys, don't be such a skeptic. Don't let anybody, any doctor or any health professional, tell you that intermittent and prolonged fasting and a ketogenic diet or primal eating does not work. It does work. You just need to be shown how to do it, and then you need to give it time to work. Most of us, humans just want things done overnight. You guys have been overweight. You've been unhealthy for a long time. What makes you think that you're going to get into that beautiful, fantastic body in 12 weeks or 10 weeks or 6 months or 8 months? No, guys, you have to understand there's mechanisms in your body because you've been overweight for so long and you've been unhealthy for so long. You've actually got mechanisms in your body that's going to sabotage it. That's going to cause you to want to fail. That's going to cause you to be, what's the word I'm trying to find? Well, there's mechanism that's going to, it's called a body set weight. That's the number one thing. That's a plateau. When you guys have done it. You've been through weight loss programs before, and you've lost a few pounds, and all of a sudden you stop losing weight, and then it's called your body. That's your body set weight. That's your body sabotaging you from losing any more weight. That's natural. That's just part of life. And you got to give it time to get out of that. How long does it take? I have no idea. It depends on how strict you are and how, finding the right protocol. But you guys, Dr. Jason Fung, Dr. Berg, Dr. Boz, there's multiple doctors. One of the top celebrity weight loss trainers that I know has been using this for years on his celebrity clients. And they're doing exactly the same thing we are doing. And it works because he's very successful. And whenever he does a YouTube, he does the exact same thing I do. He backs it up with science. That way a health professional or a doctor can't come back to me and say, well, that's not true. Well, I'm not the one saying it. Science is saying it. So don't tell me it's not true because I didn't say it. They said it. Your peers are the ones that did the investigation and found out these are really double-blind, live human being, investigations. So guys, like I said, this works. And this is right now because of what's going on today with this virus. And now they're saying there could be multiple other ones. You got to get your body healthy. Your center of your health is your gut. Intermittent and prolonged fasting is going to help to boost your immune system up to get it strong so you can fight diseases. And I'm talking about diseases like cancer, all diseases. You need to flush out the inflammation in your body. I think every health professional knows that inflammation is the root cause to all diseases. And the only way that I am seeing right now to do this without medication and to do it the way the body is designed to do it naturally is through intermittent prolonged fasting. And you guys, it works. It will always work. And that's why so many doctors are now completely changing their platform over to intermittent and prolonged fasting and the types of food. They're moving away from a low-fat diet to a high-fat diet. And so but you still have to remember that that to get to this state of a therapeutic autophagy or therapeutic nutrition, your carb count, you've got to really you have to watch your carbs. That's just all there is to it. That's the way it works. You got to up the good fat, you got to lower the carbs, and you got to have adequate amount of protein. You got, seniors, those of you that are 50 or 60 plus, man, you guys you have to increase your protein a little bit higher than normal than when you were younger, because you don't utilize it like you used to. I found that out over time, and I've also researched it myself. And so because Emily and I are so, that we're still looking into adding lean muscle, we got to make sure our protein is up there, not too high, but moderately. That's what the primal eating is. It's 75% good dietary fat, 25% or 20% of grass-fed, pasture-raised meats and eggs and fish and stuff like that. So, guys, so anyway, I just haven't been on YouTube, or I haven't been on live Facebook in a while, so I thought I'd throw this out there just to throw things out there. So I hope you guys saw some value in this, and I hope you guys are dealing with this shutdown. I got to be honest with you, it's bugging me now. It's bothering me a little. I'm kind of going out and doing things that they're probably saying I shouldn't be doing, but it's just getting to a point where it's too hard. I especially wanting to go see my grandkids and my own kids, and at this point I feel that I'm healthy, so if I get it, then I'll have to look at it as I got the antibodies, and I'll be okay. That's just that's how I'm feeling now. So hopefully this whole thing of this staying home stuff is going to be lifted a little more. Just give us a chance to go out there and do some hiking at some state parks and stuff, to get outside. That helps me a lot. That's what we're doing. So anyway, you guys, hope you guys are having a great day. I want you guys to have a great and safe week, and we'll see you guys at the next video. Have a good day. Bye.